Mike, I'm a firm believer in human contact. In fact, as a restaurant consultant, I like it when I go into the restaurant and I actually experience the sights, the sounds, the scents, and I can speak to the restaurant owner, and we can kind of communicate on the wavelength of the restaurant itself. So I don't say anything that sounds kind of strange or way out there in left field, because I'm in the experience, and they can relate to exactly what I'm saying, the prescription I'm giving to help them to make a more profitable experience for their customers, so the customers can pay more for it. Having said that, I do have an online course, a three-part video series. It takes them through the same thing, because you can't be everywhere. But I still have more of a penchant for the one-on-one, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes in the restaurant. We're talking together. Now, for you as a tutor, I'm sure you know that the global market for tutoring is just exploding. There's all types of academies and groups, and I mean huge organizations online that have pretty much taking the tutoring experience and just it's in the phone, so to speak. It's on the screen. And although the trend is definitely up, a global newswire says the $4 billion industry expected to be an $8 billion industry by 2030. That's double in just 4 years. Although that's the trend line, I still believe that there's always going to be an almost desperate need for the parent to get their child in front of a real live human. And as more and more, this is just my theory, my thought, my forecast, as more and more tutoring opportunities become available online, there's going to become, one-on-one tutoring is going to become almost exclusive. But parents are going to want it, and therefore the value of it will shoot up tremendously, and they'll be willing to pay it because they want it. Let me ask you, where do you see this whole thing going long term? Do you think there's going to be a continued explosion in the online aspect of tutoring? Do you think it's going to completely graduate to screens one day? Or do you believe that there will always be a need for somebody to be sitting across from somebody else coaching them through something?
So I like the one-to-one for sure. And nowadays, before the pandemic, there was a tutor of mine that wanted to tutor on Zoom, and I'm like, what is that? I didn't even know what it was before 2020, and now we do. We're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20% of our tutoring is online. I know tutoring companies, and we have them in different chapters that do 100% online, and it's what tutoring companies want to do. But we went back to in person because we know for some children, I think, let's just say for some children it works better. And then there's also situations where parents think it's going to be better. And so I don't want to always have to just say we're only going to do online. So we've gone back in person, and I think it will continue to grow because the kids, when you look at the public school system that we have near us, it's gigantic. It's over 100,000 students. The one right next door, in Katy, is growing like crazy, and it's moving up towards us, which is great for our business because I got tutors that can tutor Katy ISD or Cypheria ISD, and they're like right across 99 from each other. So it's a nice deal. So I think this is going to continue to grow. I just don't see how, especially in Texas as we're growing, but I think it's going to be more worldwide too. The students are just not all picking this stuff up. I don't know what it is, but the old days where when you and I went to school and we had a lecture and people just took notes and they did reasonably well, I just don't think that model works as well. And so there's kids that just get left behind. They don't pick it up, and there was a stigma back, back 30 years ago that there really weren't that many tutors, and that was a bad thing. But now I think it's understood. This is what you do. My daughter, when she went to Baylor, she tutored for us. She used to go to people's homes. She went to Baylor and just tutored on her own. And she had the best deal you could have gotten. She had a professor that was sending students to her. Said, would you like to tutor some students?
Wow.
But she was in intermediate accounting, which is really difficult. These are tough classes. And she did really well. She got A's in them. So she was able to get students referred to her, and she would tutor them, and she'd have them paid by like Zelle or Venmo. And it paid her a lot of money. You know, it was way more than what the work study paid. And so, so even college, you see it. It's across the board. Kids are just struggling. So I don't know, unless we somehow figure out how schools can teach the kids so that they learn and they don't need more help. I don't see how it's going to not continue to grow. So I still see it growing. Is it going to be 8 billion, or is it going to be 6 billion? Is it going to be 10 billion? Who knows, right? But people are willing to pay it. And then you look at the other side of it. What do they pay? My daughter was trying to pitch for a while at softball. We paid for a half hour what tutoring is today for an hour, and that was like 10 years ago. So so it's even cheaper, even though it seems expensive. But I know we pay for a lot of things, and but we really want our kids to learn, and that's what we're going to do. And so we're always going to stay real basic. We'll help them with whatever subject, but we're going to teach them how to do math. I teach them when I'm tutoring, which I do from time to time myself. I'm teaching rules I learned or I just noticed, and the kids are like, nobody's teaching me this rule. They just teach me I got to memorize how to do this. What are you doing? You got a plus number, a positive number, and a minus number, and you add them together. Well, there's a rule, and you don't even know. Nobody even thinks about it. But if you got a -6 and a +2, you're always going to subtract, and you have two different signs, and you take the sign of the larger one. Well, if I tell you what's 6 minus 2, you know it's 4, but you don't know the rule. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying general, because you just know it. I learned that. But what if it's the other way around? What if the 6 has the minus in front of it? Well, you still subtract, you just take the minus. So it's a -4. It's really pretty easy. Yeah. And but there's just a lot of stuff that I think kids are struggling with. We're in a more complex society with computers and having to have the technology that students need to have. I know we have AI coming on strong, but you still got to have somebody that can figure out common sense and figure out what works and what's not working and be able to take the action on it. And I don't see that going away either. So I think there's going to be a market for tutoring kids, tutoring them relevant skills that are going to help them be successful in life. And really, what is success? It doesn't mean going to college. It could be going to a trade school. It could be just learning how to start a business and something that you're good at and you really like. Because life is a bummer if you're doing something you don't like. And nobody wants to do that. Even if you're making a lot of money, it's still not going to drive you very long. You got to do something that you really like. I can tell you really like working with restaurants, bro. It's obvious that you want to help every restaurant. And then so it's just convincing them to show them the benefit that you can provide. I really like working with kids. So even though I do have challenges from time to time, I really like working with kids, and I like working with parents. So if I have a bad one, I just move on, and I've got 10 new ones that are coming on. They're all good ones. So, it's okay. I'm doing what I really want to do. You're doing what you want to do, and that's what I'm trying to help my kids find what they really want to do. But we're going to be there to help parents and their kids succeed in whatever they want them to. So I don't see it going away. Maybe it'll go more to a remote, because we were 100% in person. And I wouldn't mind being 50-50, really, because I can help more students that way. I really want to help students, and I can do more. People will call me from Dallas. They're like, so I have to go talk to my guy Ross and say, hey, we're getting somebody from Dallas found us. And I can't help them. They're like, no, I want somebody in person. I'm like, I don't have anybody in Dallas. So I let the online allows us to help more students. It's just that parents don't always get that. And but when we do online, it is one-to-one. They're online. Please put their phone away, and if they're engaged, it can be just as good as an in-person session. So I hope that helps. I don't know where the market's going to go, but I would think it's going to go up. That's my answer.
Well, this has been fruitful, I must say.
Yes,
now,
it has.
Now I'm going to close, and I always close my podcast or the Plum Chair with what I call the park bench question, or the park bench experiment. And essentially is this: just kind of fast forward 30 years, you and your wife, comfortably retired, life well lived. You served dutifully as tutors. Now you're just enjoying your own time together. You're taking your evening constitutional park bench, feeding birds, having a good time, enjoying each other's company. And you look up, and there's a gentleman who saunters over to you, big smile on his face, and he tells you, hey, you helped me when I was a kid. I just want to come over and chat with you. I recognize you and he chats at you for a while, and then after a while he walks away, feeling good, and you feel good because of the exchange. And I don't know, maybe you and your wife, kind of join hands and just stare at the setting sun, but you say nothing. But what's communicated between the two of you is 1,000 words, but you both know those 1,000 words. So, what I'd like for you to do, Mike, is what would that person, what that 40-year-old guy would have to say to you at that point, so that when he walks away, you just feel like you're just bursting with gratitude for the life that God has allowed you to lead and keep in your life. So, what type of thing would he say?
Wow, that is a really good one. There's a lot of things that would make me feel pretty good. Number one, in the areas that we helped them, I'm hoping that we were able to help them, this person, with their schoolwork such that it affected what they do with their lives. Obviously learning to read. If you can't read, you're really limited in life. But really, and a lot of times people don't always get this. I think they do, but they don't think about it. Is math is almost as equally important, because you're going to have a hard time in life if you can't figure out basic math. Multiplication, I'm talking about division, I'm talking about fractions, decimals, and percents. All that stuff. I wanted them to say, hey, this helped me to go into the field of study that I wanted to do. I didn't have the skills, but now I do. And it allowed me to go out and help others, because that's what we're here for, is to help other people. And so thank you for the help in getting me through reading, through math, through the SAT test, whatever it was. I got to the field I wanted to do, and I've been able to help all these people. And I don't know where I would be if you hadn't helped us. And that's what would make me feel good about it, is that we're able to help that student. And we know that there's, hopefully a lot more than one, because we help a lot of students at one time. But just hearing that we were able to help them navigate a tough time in life and be successful, and whatever that success may be. It's more than just financial, but it's their whole life, right? Spiritual, family, all that stuff. That all of that has been a success for them. And maybe I'm getting a little too grandiose saying that we did all of that, but maybe it was a part of it, and it just got them in the right direction. Maybe it got them out from getting into trouble. Hey, I wasn't doing well in school. What am I going to do if I'm not doing well in school? It would be kind of depressing. If I don't have any idea what I want to do in life, and I'm not really good at school, what am I going to do? There's limited options. But anyway, so really, it's just getting them to that next level so they can make the right decision for them. And it turned out to be a success.
And that's what I was hoping to hear.
Okay.
I was hoping you were going to say, and you did, that not only did I tutor them in a course of study, but I also imparted some principles for living they were able to use in other aspects of their lives quite successfully. And that's a payoff that's just very, very difficult to. It's a beautiful thing.
You really can't quantify it or anything. It's just an awesome opportunity. But we've got to do our job. We all have to do what we're supposed to do to help these kids. If God puts them in our path to help them, and if we don't, then who knows what's going to happen to those kids.
An awesome opportunity indeed, sir.
Yes.
Well, Mike, Texas Tutor Team, this has been a pleasure. It really has. I'm looking very forward to running back to the office and putting this on the cutting room floor, getting it polished up and made available to individuals and parents. And I'm sure they're going to get a whole lot out of this, as I did, just sitting here. I appreciate you taking the time to come sit with me today and share your knowledge, and I wish you well.
Thank you, Bo. I wish you well, and I appreciate it. It's been great today.